let's work with a super fun card. This is going to be really a lot of fun. And what I'm using is the Designer Series paper from the Life line is really good. And what I want to do is I'm going to be using the one that has kind of that starburst. Okay, so in your package you will find a starburst piece like this. And depending on which corner that you want to accent, you will have a piece of cardstock. Now, I'm not sure what color you wanted to place, but what I did is in your package you will find that there's a piece of cardstock that will match at least one of these colors. So if you don't like the color that I've chosen for you, please go ahead and use a color that you prefer. So I'm going to be using Berry Burst, and what I'm going to be doing is, this card is actually landscape, so I'm going to be highlighting this particular color here. Now if I wanted to do the blue, I might choose one of these and then change it up. It just depends. Your card will change on color depending on what corner that you are going to pick. So again, I am choosing Berry Burst, and I'm going to be cutting that down to 4 inches. So it's 4 inches tall by 5 1/4 long. So that's what you need to know. 4 inches tall, 5 1/4 inch in length. So let's cut that. Okay, I'm going to cut it to 5 1/4. There we go, just cutting off the edge, turning it. Remember, I want to keep that corner, and that's at 4 inches. Okay. So I have those pieces and it's cut down. You'll notice that the starburst is kind of in the bottom right area, and that's where I wanted to place it because that's where I'm going to be putting my butterfly. It totally depends on where you're going to place it. If you want your butterfly up, I can always turn it around and have my butterfly coming in or down, or you can have it actually portrait if you want. It just depends on where you're going to place it. And actually, you know what? For this, I'm going to do a portrait. So this is the landscape one, but I'm going to change it and I'm going to make it a portrait so that you can see the difference. And I'm going to keep it this way. Keep my I guess I could turn it this way too and have the butterfly going up. I'm actually going to be doing it this way with the starburst here and the butterfly going out. Okay, so we have our piece of Designer Series paper cut. What I want to do next is I'm going to emboss it. You can emboss it with any folder that you like, but you know what? The Dotted Circle 3D embossing folder I am having so much fun with, and that's the one I'm going to emboss it with. Now you'll notice that the circle is in the center. You can just place it in and have the dots kind of going off. You can have it centered. It is totally up to you. You can offset it like this. But what I want to do is I want those circles, the center of the circles, kind of as close to that center point as I can get. Now it makes it pretty close on the edge, so I'm just going to bring it down, place that in there. So the center of my circle of the embossing folder is right here, and the center of that starburst pattern is kind of just inside. So I'm going to try and get it as close to as possible. If you can't and you want to totally like offset it, it's going to look great too. It's just that the pattern is going to be a little different. And the reason I'm doing this in the center is because I want the illusion that the star and that the bubbles are expanding out from the center point. And I'm going to be embossing that. All right, let's see how that turned out. I'm going to lift that up and take that out. And there's the embossing image. Now you will notice that because it's a 3D, it is a little bit more, it will push out the papers, and it may cut the paper or bend it, and it actually gives it a very cool effect. I don't know if you can tell here, some of them are somewhat of a white, but it is very, very cool effect on that. Okay, so I have that, and what I want to do next is, so I don't lose that little piece, I'm just really just going to add that onto my card base. I'm not adding any ribbon around or anything, so that's okay. I can actually glue that straight down onto the card base. If you are adding ribbon around the DSP, do that now. But I will not. I am just going to, oh my goodness, look at the back image on that. That would be really cool too. That is, wow, that would look really nice. Okay, this is a tough choice. All right, I'm gonna add some glue. Gonna add some glue that actually works. You'll notice that I'm not putting my glue right in the corner, because if I do, it will spooch out, and I don't want that. If I need to, and say one of the corners pops up, I will just place a little glue dot behind that. Okay, it gives me some wiggle room. Oh, some wiggle room to move that around. Okay, that is looking fantastic. I am loving the color. Again, we're focusing on this color here. Okay, I'm going to place this off to the side for the moment. And what I want to do is I need to cut a circle just in the center here in basic white. You see here I got this circle, and I'm going to be placing that on there. So let's get some white. And I'm going to get some white, and I'm going to use one of those circles from Spotlight in Nature. So I'm going to show you how I house a lot of my dies. The ones that I use a lot, that I open and close a lot, I do have them in a stamp case. I order those, and it's just easier. I pop the little piece of paper inside, and then I have my dies. And what I want to do is I'm going to look for one of the dies. Now, I don't want it too large, because then it kind of, if it's too large, it's going to overshadow all of the paper there. So what I'm going to do is actually bring it in. So I think that it may be a little bit too large. I'm going to go with a little bit smaller. And when I look at the underside of Encircled in Nature, you'll notice that they are different patterns in there. Okay, and I'm going to look for a pattern that I like. I really like this one that's dotted. Okay, there's that one. And there's also one a little smaller with the little flowery things. But let's lay this down. And the butterfly, he kind of overhangs a little bit, and that's what I want. I want the butterfly to overhang a little bit in that circle. So I'm going to use this one with the dotted edges around. So Encircled in Nature we will be doing in next month. So you definitely want to get these. So I'm going to place it on a piece of white. Let's go back, get our handy dandy Post-it notes. Place that on there so it doesn't move, and let's die cut that out. So I have that die cut out. Now let's take a look. I'm going to show you how that turns out. It is absolutely very pretty, encircled in Spotlight in Nature. Absolutely stunning dies. I got to tell you that I'm so happy I got those. So you want to add that for the next month. I got some really great ideas for that. What I want to do now, I want to add some dimension to this. And again, we're going back to that embossing folder. And I'm going to be placing it in, again, roughly about the same spot. Because it's going to be on the card right about here, I'm going to go and have it roughly about the same spot as I had it before. So there's the circle, kind of offset, so I can imagine if I laid it down, displaying out from there. Okay, so let's go emboss this. Okay, let's see how that turned out. Gonna take that out. Doesn't want to come out, but that's okay. Now, if I lay that down, you can see the circles are starting to go in that area. So I'm not going to glue this down quite yet. What I want to do is I'm going to try and find where it is. I'm going to put my butterfly, and then I'm going to design. Am I going to turn them around? I don't know. I'll see how it goes. There's a little bit of a more spot that is kind of vacant here. I think if I would have known that, I should have looked a little closer. I would have shifted it a little bit more. So let's put these pieces aside and stamp our butterfly. So I'm going to be using a piece that I had already die cut out. Whoops, sorry about that. We are going to take our butterfly, and because we are going to be cutting him out, I can use this on a scrap piece. Again, I'm going to ink him up. Make sure he's well inked. There we go. I'm going to stamp. There we go. He's looking fantastic. And what I want to do is I'm going to take my dies that I have. Now I place them in a plastic sleeve so that I can keep them in with the stamps itself. So I place them in a plastic sleeve and just pop them in there. What I'm going to do is, again, line this up. Okay. Put a piece of Post-it note on top, and I'm going to cut him out. Now, what I suggested, if you're doing this step, grab a couple of more. Stamp some more of these butterflies in black on the white and cut about 3 or 4 of them out. It will save you time later down the road. And just place them in a little container like this so that you have them available. Okay, so let's go cut this guy out. All right, he's cut out. Okay, and I'm just going to add him right now to this pile here. See, I've got a couple in here. This way, when I need to go and grab some, I have a couple of those butterflies. Okay, I'm just going to place these dies back into the sleeve so that I don't lose them. Remember how many there are? There were 8. It says so on the back of the thing, so I always place them back in so I don't lose them. I'm going to take my butterfly, and what we need to do now is we need to do the fun part, which is coloring with Stampin' Blends. And what I want to do is I want to pick up some of the colors that are in this rainbow of color. So I'm going to choose some colors, and I'm going to find some that are not too dark. I don't want them to be too dark because then it kind of doesn't make the butterfly pop. I might go with some of these colors right here, maybe some blue, and this color here, Petunia Pop or Berry Burst and stuff like that. So let's get some Stampin' Blends. If you do not have Stampin' Blends, that is okay. You can use watercolor pencils, markers, whatever you have. Before I color my butterfly, I have my blends. Now, to double check to see if it's the colors that I want to use, I'm going to be using a little bit of a scrap paper, and I'm just going to do a little wash and see what colors that I want to use. So I'm going to go like that, and then, because I want some of the pink in there, I don't want it to be too dark. If I use those 2 pinks, those last 2, I place it on the card. I think that'll work. I'm going to use those 2 pinks. So what you want to do is like process of elimination for that. And I'm going to try and pick up the blue, and I think that's Balmy Blue. So I have a dark Balmy Blue. Again, I'm going to go like this. There's a light Balmy Blue. Just going to kind of keep making a little stripes. And again, process of elimination. This is a dark Summer Splash. Oh, no, definitely not Summer Splash. Okay, so I can tell already that this color is not in here, so I won't be using it. Definitely the Balmy Blue and the pinks that are what I'm going to be using. Always do a test before you color. It makes it much easier. See, there's the Balmy Blue, and there are the pinks there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my butterfly, and I'm going to take the darker color. I want some of this pink on his wings. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, this is kind of a tough choice. Oh, geez, am I going to do his wings? Okay, let's actually do with the blue. I think I'm going to start with the blue, and I'm going to place that on there. You can highlight your butterfly any way you want. What I want to do is try and have those variety of colors, and I want the blues to kind of pop. So there's that. I think I can go a little bit darker. Let's see, a little bit darker on some of the areas, like that. And you'll notice I'm not coloring it completely in. I am leaving some of it open. There's a spot I need to just blend a little bit. Okay. I can now work with my pink, and I think I'm going to start with the lightest color because it's easier to darken the color of the butterfly as I go along. So that is a little bit too pink. As what I can do then, not go really heavy-handed, that is very pink. What I can do is bring in that other color to make it a little bit darker. And I think that is going to work. So I will add more dark on that and then color it in with the light. Okay. So that actually looks really cool. I'm going to try and blend those colors a little bit more together. Go in circles and just kind of blend it in, making that a little bit more colored in. There we go. I'm quite happy. That darker pink was definitely, I think, a better choice. I can go back and make this blue a little bit darker, but I like the contrast between that. So kind of work with the Stampin' Blends that you have. Okay, so now I can place this guy on here. Remember I had this area that was not so embossed. I can actually turn that. Actually, that's, I think, is going to look quite interesting. I'm going to turn it, place it kind of down low over the little starburst. And I want the butterfly to fly off some of that circle. So if I place him like that, that's going to look super, super cool. Now I don't want to glue everything yet. I need to have a sentiment. So let's just place him off to this there. And let's look at the different sentiments that we have. Okay, I can have this one that kind of goes off to the top. I do have that thank you one. There we go. Would look really cool too. What else have we got? Oh, wishing you a beautiful birthday. We could do that. There we go. Now, if I'm going to do something with like this, I may have another white circle kind of going around that one on top. There we go. Actually, that actually might work. If I'm doing this longer one, I may put it on a banner. So I could also place it down here. I'm going to show you two different. So I'm going to do one that is long with a banner, and I'm going to do this smaller one with a small circle. And this way it can show you both. Okay? This way you can make the choice that you like. So let's get some scrap white. And I'm going to stamp those sentiments. And I'm going to stamp it in black because I think it's going to highlight the black butterfly. Ooh, let's put that guy on a block. Again, ink it up. Now this long one is going to be a banner. So I'm going to place this along the bottom so I can easily cut that out as a banner. So that works really well. The other one, the thank you one, I'm going to place in about the center right there so that I can cut it out with one of those Spotlight in Nature dies. Okay, so I'm going to show you. So what I want to do is I'm going to be looking through these dies, and I want a nice small one. And this time I'm not going to choose one that has huge amounts of, I like this, the spotted, the holes like that. I want something a little bit more subtle. So there's that one. This one is definitely too small, so I can't go with that. Okay, that one might fit a little bit better. Let's see. That is pretty tight, but it fits a little bit better, so I have to go with that one. It has somewhat of a design on that, but that is okay. So again, let's just pop this guy down and die cut him out. Now remember, it depends on which way you place your card. If it was landscape, like this kind of works well with a long kind of sentiment tag. Or if you are doing it portrait like me, See, oh, there we go. Get some of these poked out. There you go. There's a bit of an image, and I can tuck that underneath just like that. Actually, that looks actually quite cool. I do like that. If we did this one here, I would cut him out. Let's just cut him out and do a comparison. Okay. So I have this one here. I can take, oops, there we go, place him up here, and I could put that sentiment up here to maybe tuck him under the wing, or I could place it down here. It is totally up to you, but I think for this one, because it's a portrait size, I'm going to go with the circle right behind it. Again, landscape, if I'm doing landscape, this one would have been much better because it would have balanced out a little bit more. So I just wanted to give you those two choices. I have these all cut out now, and I can now glue them down. I have an idea of where everything's going to be going. Now, let's add some height to some of these. I can add height to that circle, or I can glue it straight down. It is totally up to you. I am going to actually add some dimensionals, and I am going to add some height. The first card I did to do this, I did it flat on, and we will look at the comparison, the differences when we are done. Okay. Now remember, I wanted that kind of up a little bit. I want to have a nice area around. I'm going to bring that down a little bit because I have my sentiment. There we go. I'm going to put that up, and then I'm going to put my butterfly up on dimensionals. I also. Okay. Again, I want my butterfly to kind of go across the circle, and we can place our sentiment right there. And what I'm going to do is actually place that one flat down. And I'm going to glue that flat down because I want to add the different heights to it. So there we go. Ah, that looks actually really cool. Don't forget, add a little bit of Wink of Stella to your butterfly. Butterfly's always got to have some kind of sparkle to it. I'm not going to add any embellishments because I think it's going to take away. I guess you could always lay it on top and see, but honestly, I think these circles are enough of an embellishment as itself. There we go. So there's the one that is the portrait size, and there's the one that is the landscape, so that you can have your choice. Okay, so that is that card. Just wanted to show those to you. Let's move on to another card.